I'll call the meeting to order. Second item, review library exits. We're in a different room than we normally are, so the library exit is out this door, down to the right over here. So please follow that. Comments or questions from the public, not related items on the agenda. I don't see any public waiting. We have Town Meeting TV here, so we're good. Approval of last board meeting minutes. So the minutes were posted in the agenda. Anyone have any comments on the minutes?
I'd like to move to approve. I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Thank you.
Good question,
Yes, you may.
not about the minutes, but just about general things. So, it's been my understanding, Paul West, the director, is a non-voting member at these meetings. Is that the case with this board structure?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Additions or deletions to the posted agenda. We do have one addition to the agenda from Ashley, so we will add that to after number 11, before number 12. And
Can I add something between 7 and 8, the foundation report?
sure,
There's not much to say, but
we'll do a 7A foundation report. And 11A discussion with Ashley. All right.
Do you have a thing that I can call 11A?
Ashley, announcement.
Okay.
that sounds so official to
We don't want to have a bummer in the beginning of the meeting. Welcome to chair remarks. Again, thank you all for coming. Again, thank you for all participating in Jennifer's retirement party. I think it went really, really well. To see the turnout, to see the people engaged, I think Marjorie, the whole team, everyone who was involved in organizing that just really did a great job. The speakers were concise. I think hit the key points. It wasn't glitter and sappy, but it was exactly the tone it needed to be to send our thanks, appreciation, and love for Jennifer. Welcome our new library director. And as a community, we came together. So I think that went really well. So thank you. I'm excited about the next upcoming few months and everything as we try and see where we want to go with our new leadership and us as a board. So I think we're at an exciting time and a good part of our where we are at the library. So I'm excited about it. Those are my comments. Mary, I'll turn it over to you, Friends of the Library report.
You're cooking along. We've been a good fall here. The bookshop in September made $636.32. Yeah. And we are in the process of rebuilding up our supply of books after the book sale. We've got the shops shelves full, but the storage closet shelves are pretty empty. So we're gonna be trying to encourage more book donations, and I think starting we're gonna start one Saturday morning a month, donuts for donation. Help people be motivated to come in and
My
bring their.
Saturday is week 3. And then, of course, we had our book sale in September. And it was a terrific success. We did really well. Our goal was $1,800 and we made $3,100. So, it breaks down that $400 of that is membership. We made $117 in the raffle. And our book sales were $2,608.48. And that total up our grand total of $3,000 there, so. So we'll be able to meet all of our obligations and then some. So we expect to give about $9,570 to the library. And then I talked with Caitlin, the new adult services specialist, and she's booked all 4 of our winter concerts. So as soon as she gets me an email for that, then I will be able to give you more specific. We've got that tidied up, so that was good. That's it. That's our good news.
It's great work. And especially in light of you've had some staffing, you've had some
Yeah.
volunteer issues, challenges on that, so
Oh, and people came out and
Yeah.
helped and.
that's great.
So it was wonderful. Thank you.
So I know that you have specific books that you would like and ones that you really don't. You wouldn't like. Are there some that people are really looking for right now that we should try to find?
Our best sellers are adult fiction and children's books. So we post our guidelines, our donation guidelines, which change periodically depending on what we have in the shop and what we need to kind of fill in.
Okay.
So if you're ever in doubt, check the website and that has the most current ones. We just redid them after the book sale, but, adult fiction is, and we try and stay within 5 years or less. But right now we're taking 10 because we need to kind of regroup. So we're gonna put a shelf in the shop that's oldies but goodies. So for some fiction that people like, but is a little bit, past that date.
I thought it was the 5, but thank you.
And 10 Tom Clancy donations per bag, no matter what.
We put those on the free table. It took us months to get rid of Tom Clancy and that all,
Everyone's got them already.
Yeah.
If you love them, you run right out and buy
Right.
it, and then everybody else is kind of like,
How about the CDs? Are they moving or are they,
eh.
they're still slow?
So at the end, and we'll talk about this tomorrow, but at the end of the month, they're.
Yeah.
getting- So we've given it a good,
Give it a
and
good
certainly
effort.
the price is.
Yeah.
Is wonderful, but I think everybody who is interested has.
Gotten a good
gotten
one.
what they need, so.
I actually had someone in Westford go shop them for, to fill in some stuff, so we actually have some of the Westford
Oh,
Public
good.
Library.
Help
was
yourself.
filling in. No, not anymore, it's not an area that they're collecting.
Any other questions for Mary?
I let the children's department and teen department know that if they have any crafts that could be used with, old CDs, like,
Oh, good.
to think of some crafts.
Okay. And
Foundation.
foundation update,
Foundation.
7A.
We have a little less, we're always less straightforward.
We're working on it.
How that happened. There's a lot going on. Right now, we're reorganizing the structure of the foundation, still figuring out, getting the sea legs after Aspire. Even though we're having each board member be in charge of an area, like grants, sponsorships, appeals, newsletters. So we're seeing how that's gonna go. And we're coordinating the articles with the friends and the trustees for the other papers, allowing us to have a column that we'll each work on. And also we got $5,000 from the Vermont Community Foundation grant for Doreen Paris, who is a storyteller, and they're going to be programs in March. I know Mira and somebody else, or Mira found somebody to shepherd this through from the library staff. So. That's good.
Nice.
And we also just received a large donation in the foundation, for an individual donation. Where you had seen the email or not. So we got a large donation from an individual to the foundation. So that's gonna be a unique, neat donation. I think it's either $5,000 or $10,000. So,
I got a random check in the mail for $200, which is from someone's estate or something like
Okay.
that. I'm still so new, I'm like, where does this go? Does that go to the foundation? It's to the library.
yeah, it's made out to the library as the city. It would go in right into the gift account.
Okay.
And then you can deposit that directly to the library gift account. If it has the foundation on it, it can come or the friends and then we passes it through. But,
Okay, but it's addressed to the library.
okay.
So
And we've told people downstairs, if you want to give a donation, the foundation, the friends are 2 avenues to do that as well, so. Okay, and anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Full year 2025 year-end financials, Brenda, do you have anything?
I do.
Or Bree, if you would like to share?
Oh, I have something for you guys. And I'm sorry, I am not exactly clear on how, and I know this should be in but honestly, like, I'm really happy to have stuff to present. So this is, and I know it's like a copy and should have been and all of that, and I know it probably is a warning process for all of this, but it'll come. And so I have an extra. No. So anyway, this is some numbers from the end of, so if you want to like learn how to read this, the first column is the budget. Okay, that you guys set for FY 25. The second column is the year's worth of expenditures. It's always good when the expenditures are less than the budget. The other is percentage, so it looks like about 96% of the budget was expended. And then the balance remaining, we had about $52,000 left. That last column is just like the expenses for June. But in order to get the whole year on there, you have to include that. There's also revenue at the bottom. Obviously, the library isn't, its main goal is not to make money. So that's going to be a much smaller number. But if you look at this, these obviously weren't purchases or expenditures that I made, but spending about 96% of your budget is pretty close. It's great. And then within that, there will be things that were overspent and underspent. But as long as it balances out, then it's all good. So I'll let you dig into this for a second visually.
Not to be a stickler, I think that this first section that was off by a line, wages and benefits, is the title of that section. We have library salaries, expenditure for $457, which I assume is a little bit lower than what you spent on salaries last year. But then it looks like the ICMA match then doesn't have anything, just before passing it around to too many other folks who might wanna shift that.
Thank you. It's an imperative document. I couldn't find it, which is why it is copied.
I'll just like cut and paste it.
But thank you for pointing that out.
So again, Bree, thanks for sharing. I think typically we would like to look at this on a quarterly basis.
Yes.
So
That's
it's not
my
a,
understanding.
so it's not a definite month. And again, I think the 96% on the expenditures outside the staffing issues were clearly people in and out. And that's really out of our control. So it's really the line items in the middle that I think is the key ones we're gonna look at and see if there's anything that I think we talked about in our budget meeting, which we'll get to in a second, as to where we made some adjustments, but
Yeah, I will say the top portion is basically, and those are numbers not set by the board, they're set by the city. So we have a much smaller pool of money that is at the discretion of the library. And that's that bottom section.
so we really only have like $130,000 within the library to spend. So those are the ones we're really focused on, make sure you have the resources and the balance is right. Nothing to me sticks out except that online and print subscriptions, which I think we talked about, Brenda, in our budget we can get to, but. Any other questions from the board on expenditures?
So Jennifer had a narrative associated with this that I think goes to city council. Again, I was up against a lot of timing deadlines to get prepared for things, and I just felt like you guys just might want to see the numbers. Rather than read like 3 pages of a narrative that went to city council.
I think that's the most,
Yeah.
Brenda, you can speak as a trade.
Yes, absolutely. And also in the last meeting, Jennifer did us a quick and dirty pencil narrative of what was on here too. So that to be prepared for, the upcoming meeting. So yes, to what you said, that this is great to have, and we'll go from here.
Yeah, to those of you who never took an English class, this is really nice. To those of you who only took an English class, you can check some stories out with me,
And you had a
That's
question?
great. My question's, what happens to the unencumbered balance, the 51,000?
That goes back to the general fund of the city.
Okay, thank you.
And so we don't get to keep that.
Okay.
I think there's probably a feverish spend down in May and June, or there should have
Right.
been, but I think that it's probably the timing just with staffing
And it's really only 14 is what we really had control over, because 37
Right,
of the
37 is
unencumbered is in the
raised.
salary. So it's the 14
Got
we
it.
really ought to look
Well,
at, which is really sitting in about 2 or 3 buckets of print subscription, community programs and software.
Yeah.
So there- yeah, yeah, we should have like another,
So I think,
I'll add a subtotal there.
yeah, I think our goal would be obviously on the discretionary side, we want to try and spend every penny.
Yeah,
And I think you know that as well, but.
I do, I try it, well, in my previous municipal library, we got to keep the fund balance.
And I think we've used the foundation and the friends as that buffer.
Yes.
Right.
So, I'm okay to spending 96%, that's real close, especially everything that's
Yeah.
going on, but I think we'll just continue to talk, we want to try and spend every penny that.
I have some theories on how we can do that, even if we don't. There's a lot of things within our subscriptions, like this within Libby, you guys know about Libby. Libby. So we can actually buy content credit in Libby, like pre-buy. So we can put money in there, it's almost like buying a gift card to Libby,
Got
you
it.
know, so there are avenues where we can kind of pre-buy. Yeah, pre-buy and that's a down session. So I'm still digging into the way the accounting works here, but they told me not to dig too far because we are actually getting a brand new as a city accounting system December 1st. So NEMRIC, which is what we have been using, is going away. And we are getting NetSuite by Oracle. The Oracle product, so the whole, not just the library, but the whole city will be changing its accounting, invoicing, financial system. So every department, and all department heads are getting trained for 2 days at the end of October. So
Download everything now.
I think that the finance department, you know, has kind of a handle on that, but it will change from the way a lot of invoicing is done manually, like with a stamp and coding in the line, and then that gets, you know, put here and entered here, and I think it will streamline the process, and people within the library seem excited about the change, which is always nice, and it'll be nice to be on the ground floor of something.
Yeah.
And I like numbers, so numbers tell a story to me, just like books do.
Any other questions on the full year financials?
Yeah, and then just one thing I'll mention to follow up on something you said when you said that the bottom line is pretty close, and there's stuff that's up and down a little, but it nets out that as we move forward into next year, those tweaks, the ups and the downs help inform the next year's budget. That the closer we get, you know, the easier it is to project the following year, and the following year, and the following year. So it's all good news.
And there's really odd things in here, like it looks like we only spent $58 the whole year in postage.
Right.
And that's apparently because we use the town's postage meter,
And we have
and
to keep track.
it wasn't keeping track of library.
Oh,
stuff, so.
Oh, wow.
We got a gift from the library, to the library from someone's posted.
Yeah, you know, but I mean, in the main realm of things, this money is general fund money.
Yes.
So, and if it goes, and if we have 51,000 go back to the taxpayers, in a sense to lower the tax rate for the next year, it was there, but I don't think that's actually. Then it's going back to where it came from. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
Run a nice job on the first one.
Oh, well, actually, we haven't got there yet.
Free, nice job.
But we'll get to.
We'll get to the budget in a minute.
I did have something to do with that, so that's good.
He's like, I've got numbers, I'm like, I love you so much already. How could this even be more love?
All right. Next on the agenda, director's report. Bree, whatever you'd like to share, please share.
Like to
Table,
share.
the floor is yours.
I made some charts and things for you guys, so again, I'm sorry that these weren't digitally sent to you and.
As your secretary, I'm going to ask you tomorrow to send them to me digitally. So I can just put them in the report rather than having to scan. I can scan one of the.
There you go, that would take something off.
Okay.
So, I will say that,
Okay.
one of the things that I am quickly learning here is to lean on my team. And Sue Meyer, in circulation, was very instrumental in helping me some of these. So what I brought for you today, since we were talking about end of FY 25 financials, I thought I would share with you end of FY 25 statistics for circulation and a variety of other things. And depending on how you like your numbers, you can look at the pie chart on the top. And then there are these lovely bar graphs, but the straight numbers are on the back. So depending on what makes sense to you, as how you like to visualize your data. And I did not need to kill the one tree that's in South Burlington to make all of these papers. Next time I will try and have some more. So for what I brought for you today is let's look at the let's look at the graph that only has two colors, the circle pie chart. Blueberry and strawberry here. And this is really interesting for FY 25. You can see our circulation by collection. Don't worry about the numbers. You don't have a complete list of the numbers that inform this pie chart here, because I was trying to save paper. But you can see the bulk of we have about a half and half split, a little unbalanced in children's and adults. So if people say like, oh, no one checks out adult books anymore, it's all online, you know, it's about half of our circulation and half of our circulation is children's. The little other less than 1%, I believe, is young adult or teen. So maybe we can get some green pie in there for next year, you know, working on that, making that collection more checkouts there. So I thought that was kind of interesting to see. And then on the other side of that paper, kind of circulation by patron category. So this is who uses the library, who used the library this year in FY 25. And it's predominantly used by a community patron as a South Burlington resident, or they have a tie to South Burlington. They have a South Burlington library card. And this is for circulation. This isn't for computers or, you know, anything. This is straight like, beep, check it out. The card went beep. Whose card was it? And so about 71% of our library usage is from people in South Burlington. The home card percentage is up this year because Burlington joined the home card library. So previously residents of Burlington were not allowed. They were not in home card, so they could not use other libraries in the surrounding area. They were kind of an island unto themselves. Now they're part of home card, and so we're seeing a lot of patrons from Burlington. So
Get a sense of what we have that they don't feel like they have, why they're coming here, besides the fact that we're awesome.
well, we're awesome. I think we have free parking. We have a little bit more easy access. We're our hours are pretty similar, so perhaps they work in South Burlington, or it's just easier. They're out shopping and they can pop in. I think our library of things is really interesting, although I'm not sure I think people outside of South Burlington can check out the library of things. I'm not sure.
Someone asked us this, we know this, we can call the library.
If they can. Okay, good. See,
In
there's
our
the
whole
answer.
part discussion.
Yeah.
Put that in.
Yeah. I just have to say hello. That's one of my Westford papers. Yeah, Homefront in action, also school,
That's
so. it's
super.
like that, yeah.
I know that the computer availability is a big draw too.
The computer availability is a big draw, that, and then they might check out items then while they're here. I think that our facility is, nice and welcoming.
The construction downtown.
I think
Yeah, the building is under construction.
downtown traffic, I think is fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The other thing I find interesting, if you look at about 4,000 unique community patrons. South Burlington's population is 22, 23. So that's about. So we're talking 18%.
So this is, yeah, for the year, yeah, and it's just a really impressive. Really impressive, the circulation.
Would, from your experience, small libraries are only 18 to 20% a good amount of people from a population to access the library? It feels low to me.
Yeah, I would,
do better.
Okay,
I would agree. But I think that also our population has been in such a exponential growth here that maybe our library usership has not kept up. This is also. I'm not sure if this is reflective of our digital users.
That was my question.
I was gonna say.
okay.
Yeah, so these numbers are being pulled from audio graphics, which is our circulation
Okay.
for physical items. So it would be nice to add digital. And that would be something that I could improve upon and get for you guys later, so.
Bet that'll pop it right up.
Libby, well, so it's a separate system, so I can access this
Right, no, I
system from
mean-
Libby, yeah. It would pop, it would, and that's been my experience too, that it is almost a separate category of person. In my experience from smaller libraries, we had about an equal adult circulation online and in library. So maybe that number is almost not double, but Ted, our meeting is going to end soon, that's clear.
Can I just say that like things like Illuminate Vermont, that brings a lot of people into the library. And we have that table right there in front of the stairs, and it's shocking to me how many people go, oh, I've never been in here before. And so it's real, those types of events also tend to pull people in that maybe wouldn't ordinarily come in,
Yeah.
and they're very impressed, so.
Yeah, we've had a ton of meetings here in the couple weeks that I've been here, and a lot of people have been like, I've never been here before, and I live, in South Burlington. I was talking to a couple of friends of mine who live in South Burlington, and they're like, yeah, I don't really go to the library, but I use Libby all the time, so, people are have other ways of accessing our services outside of the coming into the building, but I agree, the more we can get out in the community, the more people we can.
Okay. Did you know if anybody keeps track of how many people use the meeting room?
Yes, those statistics are kept track of.
Okay.
Those have to be, I'm kind of finding where all these things are.
Yeah.
And there's, it would be helpful as a board
Yeah.
to have you guys inform what you want to know. Okay, because, for this circulation kind of report, you look on the back of the big sheet. I kind of broke down some circulation for you in big categories, but there is so much granular information, like I could have told you how many award books were checked out in 2025, and I didn't think that that would be very useful for you, so,
So I think one of the things is,
Yeah.
one of the agenda items again is what our planning is. I think some sort of, now that a lot of this data is a little bit new to us, because we didn't see a lot of this data on a regular
just
basis.
if you want some more numbers, I brought you some.
And I'm really enjoying it, so it's nice to see, so I think it's to a certain point. The combination of what we think and what you see,
Yes.
what are the important data for a dashboard or for some pulse check. On how the biorhythms of and the health metrics of the library
So,
would be really helpful. So
so I have to give Sue a lot of credit. I gave her guidance on what I thought would be useful for you,
Thank you,
but
Jess.
she was able to pull a lot of this information. Also, Sue and two other staff members are taking a class on like Excel, how to present Excel data better. And so I was like, oh, yes, talk to me about that. So they're taking, it's a professional development class that they should let me take on. And I'm excited about that. I like data. I think it paints a really good picture.
I also just wanted to say that we did have data in past years. I think we put aside some of the numbers that we would have loved to see in the midst of getting the building up and running.
Mhm.
So now it's great to have the focus on it, because as much as we wanted to see it, a lot of the attention was on the bricks and mortar and making sure we had staff and things like this.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, these numbers kind of almost justify staff too, where you can see the increase in usage of the building, increase in circulation and those kind of things. The city has a brand new data coordinator, data person. They have like a data department. And next week's leadership team meeting is a 3-hour session on data and how it can be used. So you can wear like a free wig and go. Yeah, but it's kind of interesting, so maybe we could pull library cards by region of South Burlington, or, you know, what schools have more library card users than other school families that do. So I think for the outreach efforts, it would be a good way to focus that kind of stuff.
You're getting me all excited, because I would love for you to think in the back of your head, one of the regions that we would like to look at is that Shelburne Road corridor, because we keep talking about there's no bus, there's no way to get students that can't drive or other people across the interstate. So that would be really interesting to see.
Well, and if we ever got to the place of the bookmobile conversation, and it also drives from.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I do, it would be helpful to you because you all kind of wear, you know, you look at the library in a different lens. You're all informed by different places. And so what data you would find useful, it's there. Libraries in Vermont have to keep very granular data, both financial and patron circulation to usage statistics for an annual report that is filed every year. That used to be tied to standards, but the standards haven't been redone since 1986. So they're no longer tied to standards.
Rebecca?
Just 2 quick questions on the patron categories. I just was curious about the SB. Is that 5 years to 11 years old, or SB 12 to 17?
I believe that's age
Age,
categories.
okay.
Children's.
Great.
And that had to be changed to 12 because you guys knew that the age of patron privacy got lowered to 12. Okay, good.
And then just. And then, I guess I'm just surprised about the new library card numbers, like it's like only a 30 card difference between those 2 years. So. Maybe that's true. I'm sure it's true. I'm surprised. So, but we more, I thought we had.
Well, if you look at the middle graph, I'm gonna,
The graph doesn't match the.
the graph doesn't match the numbers.
Oh,
Scale, the scale is really small. Okay, I was like, whoa, we got some more. Yeah. So new cards are always going to be harder to get than when people are renewing their cards. So it's just kind of like, you know, but I think maybe your outreach efforts already in FY 26 will drive.
I'm sure as this area grows and
Yeah.
other people,
Yeah.
but it's something, I think it's an important pulse data. to have.
Yeah. Again, I'm interesting all these numbers. So,
exactly right.
but I'm happy to help.
And we haven't tracked them to Stacy's point, in a few years. So that may be something as we.
Yeah.
They're a revelation.
Yeah, as we look to it, we figure out what we want to see on a regular basis and what we want to track to be that dashboard. So I think that's a great challenge for us.
And my hope is to kind of maybe not give you so many things, but as I'm learning to, how we keep all of our statistics, I just thought that these would be very useful for you. And the Ted's like, I want numbers, so I went with what Ted said.
Yeah, adult fiction, we have two different numbers, one's asterisk, is that a, thought that I wrote that out?
Yeah, I actually don't know what that is. There's no,
I don't know if there was some subcategory.
there might be.
I'll find out. You will find out as we go along.
There might be, and again, I didn't print you the total.
That number will be really great.
Yeah, so one of the good things about a fresh set of eyes is that you can often see barriers that were in place that you may not have known because you were, so inside the system. And so we're definitely have talks for interlibrary loan online, like not doing it yourself, but putting in a request for them online and library card sign up online with some kind of confirmation with ID or library cards. So we have enough Google accounts lying around that those are really easy to make a Google form that gets sent to a worker and.
That would help a lot of anxious junior high school and college students, because I've encountered a number who don't want to come into the library to get a library card. They would love to get a book. They don't want to go to circulation and say, I need a library card. So in order to fill out this form and just go and say, I have this, here's my ID, that hopefully will be much easier.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Okay.
Bree, thanks for sharing the data. I guess one thing I'll ask the board is for the next meeting, look at this data, digest it a little bit, see things that are of interest to you, see something you'd like to see elsewise, and then we can start building that as we start developing our strategic plan and our where we think we want to work on. But this is great to share. So thank you, Bree. Yep.
Right, it was always there, so
Yeah.
I just kind of picked it out, picked and choose.
All right.
But I know I only have 10 minutes, but I do
No,
have
you
a couple
take your
of
time.
things that I do want to talk about. And Ted and I already talked about this thing, and I've already talked to Jesse Baker, and the leadership team at the city, but I wanted to talk about Sundays. So it has been the plan and the intention to be open on Sundays, and that's what the voters want. I was given a very ambitious deadline of October 26th to be open on Sundays, and that's not going to happen. We still need to hire 3 assistants and get them trained and on and everything to cover just the bare minimum. Like it's already hard to cover Saturdays with the current staffing, so covering Sundays. And we're being a little bit more intentional in hiring. So where you have set days where you're hired, with a weekend day, like no rotating, like you are working a Saturday or you are working a Sunday. So our new projected opening day for Sundays is January 4th. New year, new hours. Okay, so that will be for the marketing in communications campaign. Don't put that out in the other paper or the, don't social media. I know that we're in recording and that's fine, but I wanted the board to know before I sent a big note to the staff. Although the staff kind of caught wind of it when I took the Sundays off of the schedule. But we have hired 1 new sub. And that sub has been on and being trained. We've just hired another assistant for adult circulation, like they accepted. We're in the process of doing another one, and we got approval to combine 3 subs, which I felt unwieldy, into 1 assistant from finance. And that person will be in circulation. It feels a little bit better once we get all of those. But there might be a need for more, and I'll run those numbers by finance, at least another sub. Had 6 subs, we're down to 3. So there's been some turnover of staff and subs.
So Brianna, I had the discussion that I think we want Sundays to be successful when we roll it out. We don't, and even though there was a general commitment from the city and from voters to get Sunday, it doesn't feel like that's a clamor out in the community to do it. We'd rather do it right. I think we still need to put a date out there on a regular basis. It's not on hold. It's not that. We're gonna do January 1st. And you're gonna, 4th. And you're gonna do everything you can to try and get to that. As we get closer, we'll do a pulse check on it and see where it's at, to see how we wanna do. It's a little more complicated now. We have a union bargaining group, staffing, holidays. That's all gonna get factored into this. So I'm comfortable saying January 4th is the new date. But we'll just look to you for regular saying, I'm striving towards it, but if something is not going on, it's not gonna be successful. We would ought to look at that and make sure it feels right.
And there's a lot of moving pieces in our current scheduling system, and so we're also looking into scheduling software and scheduling, how do we do this? How do we make it more visual? How do we make it easier for staff? Because right now we have a 4-week rotating schedule. So it's not, you work the 4th Saturday, you work every 4th Saturday, so it's a little bit. There's a lot of moving pieces and parts. So if in your professional lives, you have worked with scheduling software that you love, but luckily Mike, our digital specialist, and Nick from IT and I have been talking about it, and we've reviewed several and knocked out several, and I'm really trying to dig into the schedule. I love a puzzle.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a big logic puzzle with a lot of.
Scheduling, there's no magic solution to schedule, so.
No, I'm talking
it's-
to Mary Danko over at Fletcher Free too. They have a slightly different way that they do it. And maybe that's something that we look towards as an example.
Any questions?
Sunday hours?
Currently, we don't have, we're not open on Sundays, so
No, but what do
it
you
would be
anticipate?
I was told it would be the same as our Saturday hours.
10 and 3. Is it 10? Oh, what?
Or 9 to 5, 9 to
No.
3 on Saturday, 9 to 3 on
9 to
Saturday.
3.
Okay.
That was the target. I think we also talked about possibly just 10 to 2, if we wanted that to make it for you, but I think we got into it when it got so small. People coming in for just 4, it was almost be open and looked at, so I think there's some
Consistency
flexibility.
in hours is very valuable.
So,
As you can tell by people who have been on board and still can't remember what the hours of the line version.
so I think, at least from my perspective, is if it would be helpful to you to make Sundays more effective with a narrower window, let's have that discussion. I think it would be logical to say, keep it like Saturdays as a starting point, but as you delve into this puzzle, let us know your thoughts on it, because I think some hours it would be helpful to start with.
Well, with the staffing we have and the union and not going over certain hours and so it adds a whole new wrinkle to it in a good way.
And
Alright.
we're ready to have champions on Sundays. As we're starting, let us know because I'm sure some of us would do round hogs to be here on Sundays.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to track the data on usage for Sundays and see, but I do think as a board and advocates for the library and the community, especially through the budget, which we'll get to, that's where we're gonna need the most advocacy, because the most expensive part of our budget is staff, and we need staff to run the building.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Just the annual report is due October 31st. Ted apparently is gonna send me his portion of it. I think Jennifer ran out of time and is now retired, and so she gave me a good start, but it's not, it was kind of like here. And so writing a report, I will kind of clean up what she has written for her portions because it obviously wasn't my time. And there's a looking forward section, which will be pretty limited.
And obviously for that deadline, I'm here to the first, I'm out to the first, I'm sure, and Don or Stacy, any of the board, if you need any help pulling that all together, we have our portion we've done. I'll give that to you and you can build what you want around that.
I'm glad it's done.
Yeah. There's something there that you can
Yes.
get in, and if there's anything else needed,
Yeah.
feel free to reach out to any of us.
Yeah,
Me-
and again, I'm gonna lean on the staff, the staff sends highlights for all of this kind of stuff,
That's a
so,
good thing to do.
and they have that information.
Okay.
I'll get done, I'll do my homework.
All right. Thank you, Bree. Excellent first director's report. Thank you. Committee updates, finance. I'll let you start with the budget. Actually, we'll do 10A2 first. We'll do the budget.
Okay, so you have the budget, the fiscal year 27 budget in front of you. We worked on it with Jennifer and we came in for it, which was wonderful to have her there for the process. So what you're looking at is it's just your basic budget for, we have fiscal year 25 budget, fiscal year 25 actual, fiscal year 26 budget, which we're only 3 months into. So it doesn't really inform our fiscal year 27 budget request, but there are so many consistencies year to year that it's not an onerous task to project forward. So
Can I ask you a quick question? And to everyone with institutional knowledge, are these budgets, the proposed budgets, the ask for what you want kind of, but how do we financially operate? Are we trying to be as lean as we can, or is there a city directive that this is gonna be a lean year, or there's opportunities, so seize those opportunities? What mindset are we going into?
my understanding is that the past 2 years, the library has been treated very well by the town because of the building process, the growth and this sort of thing. There is a mandate from the city this year to bring the expenses in at 3.5 to 5.5% less than the previous. We're not going to do that. The numbers that we have are what we need, taking into account that it is a lean budget. It's what we need to get the work done. There's not a lot of frills, there's not a lot of fuss, but there's
Not slashing either, okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Brenda.
And so that's a nice way of saying we're way over.
So actually, you're fine. I think we've typically on the first pass is to say, this is what we feel as a board is what we should need to operate. We understand
Okay.
when that rolls up, Parks and Rec is probably gonna have the same thought that when they roll it up, it's gonna be, it's coming in 2% over, it needs to be 3 below. This is where the deeper dive meetings come in as to what it is. And that's the evolution. We've been fortunate over those years that our normal requests, because we've been saying, we want to invest in the asset, the city has been supportive of that. When that tide changes, because some of the other people, groups that may have been starved or maybe not have gotten all they wanted, we may be beginning that transition, but we're still gonna ask.
Thanks, Tim.
And I think we're good. And there's one big one in here, obviously.
And just to mention the salary extension, because that's it's given from the town. Those numbers are locked in once the city puts it through.
Oh, so that's what those red numbers.
Yes.
Well, the red numbers aren't that's why it looks like change, yeah.
Yeah.
They're-
Yeah,
so-
The blank blue.
That's
blank
not,
block.
that's
Great,
the
thank you.
city, and
Thank
that's when all those numbers are firmed up, that number will be provided.
Thanks.
Provided.
That's existing staff levels. Right.
Yeah, so it's my understanding in FY 26, you can see that there was a jump. Not only in cost of living, but I think there's about 50,000 extra dollars given to salaries, for Sunday hires. $50,000 doesn't get you very far, but you know, it covers those kind of 3 assistant positions for their additional Saturday hours or Sunday hours, and, you know, relating, those positions are not benefited positions.
They're not.
Pardon me?
They're not.
No,
No.
they're $19.
So we're not asking for any new staffing other than what we had asked for in 26 to get to Sundays, which would probably be spreading the weekly hours a little thinner to try and get a little on Sunday. This is what we have to try and solve this puzzle. Is that right or not? Right now, that's what we're. looking
Yeah,
at.
I think we're gonna need to advocate for more in the future. Because, but not like a ton more.
Yeah.
You know, but I do think that as the library gets busier and adds extra hours, then it makes sense to add extra stuff.
A realistic increase.
Realistic increase, yeah. But if anyone has any, or Brenda, do you wanna go through, I don't know if you guys go through this like, you know, line item by line item, but I will mention a couple of things there. You can see that there are 2 new categories that are created. So the library of things, has become really popular. That's where we check out the stuff. And that was being paid for by Friends previously, and it is Jennifer felt important enough to move into the operating expenses of the budget. Maybe the Friends will still, you know, have some, but we'll see. And a new, very kind of minimal marketing budget was put in there because I have heard marketing is a new priority for the board. And so that was put in there. We decreased AV support and online print subscriptions. I think we got rid of consumer reports due to lack of usage. And then on the back, there is a significant, well, a couple of things. So we did change, we included in computer programming and fees a projected increase of $2,768, and that is for a new, it's too much, because I wasn't staff to get too excited, but a projected new ILS, so like an online checking in and out the books, a different one. And we'll talk more about that later. We're kind of using an old system and we're an island of libraries, so we might want to update. And then the checkout machines is the big thing.
Right, at $18,000. As the checkout machines that are currently there are the service contracts, the maintenance is due to expire in sometime during this current fiscal
Fall
year.
of 2026.
Yeah.
And it's not just like a contract, the machines are end of life, like so it's not, so they won't be updated, so they might work.
They've been down
Longer.
and they've been up. So.
Yeah.
It's not the bell on the right.
Yeah, just spell checkout.
Yeah.
Checkout.
Yeah, the one on the right.
Just interesting, yeah, that's
Yeah. So that
huge, and I guess people are really using the self-checkout machines, I was about to ask, do people really?
The self-checkout machine saw a 19% increase,
Yeah.
Just felt. You blocked.
They weren't.
They weren't.
Another generation of.
But it's also a place of position that you have to cut, you know, places you can cut.
well, I learned this new thing, so this 18,000 has actually been added to a SIP request, which is a capital improvement request.
Nice.
So I figured out how to do that.
Nice.
That's it.
So when we talked about it, this is a unique thing that ought to possibly go to the capital center. There's a whole process that fell into that. So if that gets pulled out, that obviously changes the numbers significantly, so
And
that helps.
when I talked to the person who did the capital budget, they were like, oh, 18,000, you know, it's not like a new dump truck or like something like that.
Right, oh, but it's 10% of our budget.
Right,
It's a big
it seems very big,
Yeah.
so, that also didn't feel like an IT thing, because it's like almost like a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
For the
It's an
library.
asset with value.
It's an asset to the library.
So when you really look, if
Does
you
it-
pull that out, it's only like an
Yes.
$8,000
I was
increase.
gonna say, then that will look really different.
That's
Right. And it's just that the increases and, you know, there are no real surprises here. The increases are the two new line items, you know, and a few ups and downs, but by and large, we take out, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's a decrease, I guess, from the professional travel and training. We're increasing it to 5,000. Professional development is something that is important to the city. It's also important to me, and as a new director, it's important that my staff feels well supported and well trained, as well as myself. So there is an increase there. One of the things that was proposed is that we get a VLA membership for everyone. So that's the Vermont Library Association. So that is also a way that we can help support libraries throughout the state. Because not every library can even support one membership to VLA. And they're not like super expensive, you know, but we just have a lot of stuff.
And that could be a draw for new hires.
It also could make our staff that we have now feel much more like professional members of an organization, to say that they're a member of our professional organization in our state.
Any other questions on the budget?
So, but just to mention, if you can, so you see down at the bottom, take out the 18% or the 18,000, we're at 6.3. Which is high, but in the grand scheme of things, the budget, it's really not that high.
Yeah.
All right,
When the denominator is low, the percentages seem,
and also on the revenue side, we're bringing in an additional $2,800
well, projected.
projected, so.
To say that's the non-resident fee for 2,000, we might not hit that,
Okay.
even though it's kind of, because now that Burlington is part of Home Card,
Right.
we're not gonna be.
So the revenue it's not, that's
It's not a big.
not that big thing, but it does help offset even that 8,000. That's
But on the
so.
flip side, the conference room rental is a very conservative number. So it's always good to underestimate the town money where you can.
So when we get, as the next iterations of this goes, and we'll go in front of city council, we'll work through it. So any other discussion done?
No, I make a motion. I never make motions, I want to put myself in minutes. Exactly.
I'll second that.
But the motion right now is the 18,000, and we want to keep track of it. So
Yeah.
the 18 is going to stay
Yep.
until we know we have the CIP done.
And that's something that apparently we have like budget. We would call it rodeo, but that's what it kind of sounds like.
All right, so motion's been second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. So Brenda, thank you for grabbing the budget. Please, thank you very much as well.
Hey, I got to enter the budget in already.
Yeah, we're all good. All right, next agenda item, this one's probably mine to still shepherd through, Brenda, until the end. It's the old debt policy, the great old debt policy. So I did meet with Rory about our ideas that we discussed about that. We did go through like a simulation of what it would be, and this $50, $100 thing was just really not gonna work really well, because people would end up being at $78. So it was kind of this middle ground where it wasn't clear. So the recommendation was just to do it around $100. So right now is after 3 years, if you've got debt, $100 gets wiped out on January 1st every year. And as you get below zero, you get reactivated. So it's just gonna be every year you crop off $100 from the old debt. And we'll do the first, you have to be 3 years of penance on that list unless you pay up. And then if you have if you have $99 of book fees after your third year, you're now below zero, you get your library privileges back. If you're at $199, it goes down to 99 the next year. Then the following year, it'll drop back off. So working around 100 hours is good. Sure, this is the first time you really probably been involved.
No, I knew about this.
Okay.
I knew about this, but I'm wondering if with Rory, when you were working, our library cards, I think are good for 4 years. So a lot of those people will be expired. So it's not going to redo their library card, but they have the option of coming in and getting and.
So if they would come to renew their library card, they would not be seen on the old debt list.
Also,
So they
they're
could.
going to get notified that they are now the beneficiary of
So
benevolence or?
we had that discussion a little bit as, do we want to be proactive about that or not? It was really get the policy in place and then we can decide what's the best way to
Okay,
administer it.
So
for
that
you
hasn't
guys.
been, I haven't seen this policy.
Should still be working, because I'm gonna hand it off to you guys to kind of work it up as, I just want to get the guardrails right on the numbers. So the guardrails are 3 years, $100 increments done on January 1st.
Mhm.
Are we all good on those guardrails? Then we're gonna hand it
Good evening,
over.
folks. The time is now 6:30 and the library will be closing in 30 minutes at 7 p.m. Please wrap up your library business and make your way down to the circulation desk. As a reminder, we stop making new library cards and the public computers will stop at 6:45. We'll reopen again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Have a great night.
I just want to make sure I understand it. So January 1st, so it's not 3 years after you've accrued, you've gotten.
So the first January 1st after your
First
after
January
3 years.
1st, okay.
I think, right?
So basically, let's say in 2022, January 22, you was the last time you incurred some debt to the
Right.
library. In January 2026, that's been 4 years you've been out.
But it could be, but if you accrue in December.
Yeah.
Then.
Then you're in that 3 year, right?
Okay.
We want people to have time to pay off
This
their
is
debt.
easy in the computer.
Rory believes that she can administer this. And that's one of the things we've been iterating with her, saying what is the easiest thing? Because part of this whole initiative was to be user friendly to the staff.
Mhm.
So, is that clear enough to you, Ann?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone else?
This is kind of an equity issue, you lost something as a kid and,
It's $35.
It's $35 over that.
And we're denying the, we want to get
Yeah.
people back into it after time.
Okay.
So I'm not, the motion, I'm not gonna make the motion because we don't have the document. I just want to get the ground rules and then Marjorie, you and I can sit down and talk about getting it into governments to try and make it look like a policy.
And I do have to say that the South Burlington's old debt list is way longer than anything I've ever seen. From a home card library perspective, where you send, your kind of patrons who are restricted. You have your usual restricted and then there's pages of all of that.
And we don't know, we think a lot of those people are just disconnected from.
And honestly, the debt's probably not $100.
So it's more just cleaning it up to make a clear process and also to try and see if we can gain some accessibility back without really taking a huge financial burden to the. There's some. Oh, there's some. I mean, there's some like 1980s, 1990s.
Oh, yeah.
How does that work with home card?
Well, so if you have it's kind of difficult with, so if you're restricted at your home library, you're not allowed to use other libraries. Most libraries in this area are on the same, card catalog, for better word of it, digital card catalog. They could see each other. So if someone is in Colchester is restricted, Essex can see them and they, they're from their library card. In South Burlington, that's not the case, because we're an island with this software right now. And, as part of the home card agreement, you send a list once a month or quarterly, to the other libraries and say, these are restricted patrons.
What if I am a South Burlington patron, but I lose a Colchester book? Is that,
Then you're responsible, but ultimately Colchester will bill South Burlington. Like if, it goes on too long.
so
It's the
their
whole
whole bill is
library's
here.
responsible.
Okay.
Yeah, your whole bill is here. I mean, some people are like, and they'll take care of it themselves, but every library is slightly different in the way that
But
they
you're
handle.
responsible for your people.
You're responsible for your people
Okay.
ultimately.
Got it.
Yeah,
Does it restrict your Libby?
yes. Libby checks in with your library card account. And so if your library card account is expired or it's restricted, then you can't check out in Libby. And that's often an incentive for people to renew or clear up problems.
Thank you all. Now, this has been several months of iterations on this, but I think we got something we can go with and we'll get that formalized as a policy and then. Okay. Brenda, anything else on finance? Okay.
Oh, just one,
So who collects those? Does anyone actively collect them, or is it just on file? And
Collect,
the money from the books?
oh, it's administered through the city, it goes directly back into the city, and it goes into one of lost books on the sheet right there.
Yeah, it counts as our income.
Yeah.
For lost books, but then usually. we
Offset
replace
by the
lost.
expense.
Right. Gotcha.
Sometimes we don't.
All right, governance?
Okay, so I'm gonna try to shoot through it pretty quickly. I don't have copies for you, but it's kind of, I'm pretty sure you all have the copies that I've taken.
Would you mind resending me one, just because I've been, a lot of stuff, probably in the binder, but it hasn't been approved
It would
yet.
not be this particular normal changes.
I will send that right out.
Yes, please, you don't need to do it right now.
Yeah, it's have here. So we did try to do this at the last meeting and there were some, so what we're talking about is patrons items. Bags, things that clutter the walkways and get in the way, like all my committee members, please jump in. Failed to clarify things. And we brought forward a policy stating that patrons were allowed to keep their items in cubbies. And then the board raised concerns that that would become that patrons would feel the library was responsible for their items, and we didn't want to add additional work onto our staff, that they would be managing all of this with the patron. And we talked about it for a long time, and we have a new director coming in, and she might have some ideas that she'd like to clear, but we kind of want to get it off the table too, so it's one thing she doesn't really have to worry about, and how do we manage, not putting more of a burden on the staff. So what we came up with was that library assumes no responsibility for stocks, unless you stolen items. So, and that's it. And we did send, we do recommend too that there be signage, like perhaps the staff can put up signage. We already have verbiage that says keeping walkways clear, so that's already there. And that possibly, if the staff feels they need to post signage saying, reiterating this, that we are not responsible for the lost or stolen items. So that's the one. And do you have any questions? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, one of the things that was being discussed as we were putting this together is that Jennifer had said there was going to be a space for people to put things. But we didn't write it into the policy because the committee thought it would be best to be a little more open with the policy and let you all decide how that was going to go, because we don't have lockers, we don't have, and we don't want the staff to feel. So I just wanted to make sure that we did say, we talked about that, but
Yeah, I mean, there are kind of cubbies underneath that, like bank of tables that surround the stairwell up above. People don't use them, and maybe they think they're for book display or something, so perhaps we could have some signage, but that is not usually where people with stuff hang out, so perhaps it's not a good spot, or a waste of space. And also, people who have multiple bags with them aren't really going to want to be parted from them, because they're valuable to them, it's their stuff. So
We also talked about having that kind of designated area gives a false sense of security.
yes.
That by designating it an area to drop off, that it would be safe, and of course, there's no guarantee.
And it's not line of sight from the perch, it's kind of a little bit further away, so currently we just have, and I have seen people put things near the cubbies, but not into the cubbies, so perhaps we need some signage, but maybe not, just to avoid the whole thing.
Yeah.
I do like the safety issue though, like these paths clear, and not responsible for any lost or stolen.
I think people were bringing things to staff and saying, can you watch?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, there was somebody the other day that came in and I was just like, hey, we got some cubbies over there.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay.
And maybe that's the solution, like letting folks know that that's a good redirection of that request, but not actually putting signage up, because that goes back to the conversation.
Yeah, or signage up saying we don't accept responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the one, just it's the baseline one, just to.
Yeah, I do say no one reads any of the signs that are, whether you are in a, whatever state of life you're in, no one reads the signs.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
I will say, like, policy only matters when you pull it out. And
Right.
So that's always kind of like, at least when we're talking about it, like, what's gonna support the staff when they're in a situation?
So they can
Right.
pull it out.
What do they need to have written down?
Right,
So.
safe and not
Safe and
responsible.
We're not.
I think that's really good.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one, and then the other issue that Anne brought forward was that the, city council enacted a policy. Because we're concerned, well, I'm just gonna say Anne's a lawyer. I didn't even pick up on it.
Is it this one?
It's this one, yeah, the no alcohol.
Yeah, I got it here.
Right, and so, well, we have, and so you can see at the bottom of the patron code of conduct, we do have abided by federal, state, and local laws, and we added and policies. Just in case this is a local policy, no law, just to make sure we're.
It does say alcohol consumption policy,
It's under their policies, it's not it's not a city regulation.
city council resolution.
Yeah, it's not, no, they have a separate, there's separate.
That I had
Is it
printed this out,
policy?
so I was like, are we adding this to our code of conduct? But it sounds like, no.
So we're adding it, we're incorporating it.
Yeah,
Code of
which is
conduct.
just policies, we're not specific. We're not specifically signing.
Thank you.
The policy or
Oh, I
anything.
got it.
We,
We expect you to abide.
Is everyone on the board aware of this?
No.
I apologize, so.
No, it-
No, I did
it's
not-
one of the policies that was referenced.
They just enacted it,
September 15th.
thank you, and it abolishes the use of alcohol in all public buildings.
On Market
Except-
Street.
Except for events that serve a legitimate public, cultural, or governmental purpose.
Except
when we want to have
alcohol.
Exactly.
So we can opt in the alcohol, just, we opt in the alcohol.
Moving on, I want to have a beer straw.
Yeah, yeah, so there is an exemption category, but,
We should go for it.
So what we did
Just
just
says
put policy
buildings, though?
into this
Yeah.
patron
Because-
policy.
And it covers us for anything new that comes up, or there, we have to keep it, you want to follow.
And it just say in public buildings.
It's
in all.
180
public
Market
facil-
Street.
Well, it does say inclusive environment in all public facilities, and it references 180 Market Street by name.
Okay, yeah,
So-
I'm just thinking, I went to a whole beer-related rec department and that's right in the little, yeah. Okay, but I guess that's.
Infrastructure and.
Structure, yeah,
Yeah.
acceptable. Alright, great.
I think this was because of some people in the kind of liminal space between City Hall and the library, the hallway space, having alcohol and in the bathrooms and certain things like that. And so that space is not really the library space, it's not really the town
Yeah.
space.
It's 180 Market. The art space.
City Hall, yeah, it's the gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Entertain a motion?
So the motion would be to, accept these changes to the patron code of conduct.
Second? Second, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you for the team.
Abstained from it, but.
Well, we can get Stacy to reaffirm it when. I'm sorry.
And so if you'll just send the approved policy.
Okay.
Because it's gonna have to be reposted everywhere, because it's changed, right? You changed
I mean, the word should be, yeah, so we have a system, when,
Oh.
for when the, right, Margie? We have a system for what.
We
when-
do have a system.
When we vote on a policy, or then the chair of governance will send it to the director and to my. Right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Accepted
Yeah.
policy.
Whatever it is.
Bring
I
down.
know, so I don't know either, I'm sure.
No.
But I just think we.
Ashley, thank you.
Well, there were times,
We're not all up to date.
Well, it's a very important policy for the staff. So I want to make sure that we have it posted accurately everywhere that we can. I also had several city council members ask me if we had it posted or we even have. it. So, I just want to make sure.
Okay, yes.
Margie, anything else from the committee?
No, no,
Okay. Communications, Holly's not here. Any updates from communication anyone wants to share?
Team table did great.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Sue and Holly are gathering the numbers for library cards.
And we're writing an article for the other paper. We're gonna be interviewing the three, your direct reports, like Sue, Mira,
And Aaron.
Great.
Great.
All right. Okay, number 11, discussion of 2026 planning. I'm gonna start modifying the agenda probably beginning of the year to take more time to start focusing on developing the strategic plan, the mission and everything. We may do some analysis, so it may be more interactive. And